Hi everybody, I'm Tim from troutandfeather.com, and as you can see, we have a special guest tyer with us today. We have Mr. Jake Adamirovich from Competitive Angler. Jake, welcome to the show, man.
Nice to see you again, Tim.
Likewise, buddy. Jake, what fly are you going to be tying today?
Today we're going to be doing the Jake's Improved Zebra Midge.
I love it. Stay tuned because you're going to love this one too. All right, Jake, before we start tying this one, will you just tell us the name of the fly and just give us a quick 360?
Yeah, this is what I call Jake's Improved Zebra Midge. Give you a little 360 view here.
Perfect. And there's not much to this one, but I know you got a couple little hints you're going to kind of show us during the tying, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right, cool, man. Well, let's get a clean hook in the vise, and we'll have you start tying this one.
All right, great.
All right, Jake, why don't you take us through your improved Zebra Midge?
Alrighty. So, this is a pattern that's been out for eons. Basically, I took two versions of it, the original silver and the original copper, and kind of mixed them together, added a tail on from one of my buddies that I work with, Patrick Folkrod, that originally showed me one of his straight shanked zebra midges.
Okay.
I tinkered with it and kind of came up with this. So I start by winding the thread behind the bead. And by the way, I'm using a foaling mill grab gape.
Okay. What size is this hook?
This is a 16, but it's a European size, so it runs right about in the 18 range.
Okay, okay.
And US sizes, and I'm using a 2mm, which is 5/64 US sizing, and
tungsten, I'm guessing.
Tungsten, always. The trick with sizing these hooks is basically trying different beads when it gets down to these weird sizes.
Okay.
So I come back about halfway, take a little bit of Midge Mirage, and this is an opal color. That's kind of the unique thing on it. I'm sure pearl would work. I don't think it matters, but this kind of gives it a unique flair.
Yeah. That Midge flash looks really nice. It's one of those, as soon as I saw it, I had to go out and buy some of those colors.
It's great.
Yeah,
great color.
The original crystal flash, it's great. But this Midge stuff is nice.
But the Mirage gives it like a 3 or 4 opal effect, and it's really neat. I'm using 12-aught Benecchi thread.
Okay.
I really like the way it's been laid. It's been using it for years. So I kind of tied up a little bit. Nothing. I like to keep my body super thin. The longer I've been tying, the worse I've been getting at it, and I really feel that's important. If you look at a midge in the water, you know it's super thin.
Yeah.
People tend to over tie them, and that's one of my biggest frets.
I'm sure that 12-aught thread probably helps to minimize it.
It does. It does. You know, TMCO used to make a 16-aught thread, and that was the best, but they couldn't make, and it's this is the next best.
Okay.
So I take a piece of Hens 09 wire copper, and I'm going to put it right behind the bead here. Kind of do a loose wrap. Going to come back here. And we're basically almost done here. And I'm going to do a couple covering thread wraps to cover the body up, build a slight taper. Mainly behind the bead to lock that bead in place.
Yeah.
Kind of roll check it. You know, and that's about it. Like I said, I like to keep it really tight, or really thin. So after this, I'm going to kind of take my wire and do some slight wraps. Pinch it down over.
Yeah.
You can see that. I kind of helicopter this off. Do a couple more wraps behind the bead, lock it into place. Take my whip finisher.
Geez, such a no-nonsense style fly, isn't it?
It is. It's a. Should pump a bunch of these out in minutes and seconds.
Now this
Literally.
fly, Jake, was this also featured in George Daniel's new book?
It was nymph fishing, I believe it is.
I think that's it. I thought so.
The recipe's on there. It's exact what I use. The hook's the biggest issue I've had is finding a hook that's suitable. There's one that in the original book that it's tied on that I really like, but they don't make it anymore. It's a Skulka 18 that has a true long, and I like to shorten that tail up a little bit.
Okay.
That's basically it.
Jeez, that's all there is to it.
And I'm taking a little bit of Solarez UV bone dry.
Okay.
I take that and I put a little bit on, and I have these little dentist brush things. I like to kind of take it and then rub it in.
And that just makes it rock solid, doesn't it?
Really does. Just brush it into everything into the core. And then sometimes I'll touch it just to get rid of all the, on this fly I don't like to have a big thick liquid bulk. And after that I'll kind of hit it with the light. Do 2, 3, 4 second cure, and literally that's it.
That's it. Man, that's a great fly. Well, Jake, before we change the camera angle, will you give us just another 360 of this fly?
Yeah.
Simple, no nonsense, just down and dirty. All right, well, let's do this. Let's change the camera angle a little bit, and can I pick your brain a little bit more about this fly?
Absolutely.
All right, perfect. So if you like that fly, you probably agree with me. It was a simple tie. You made it look easy. Thanks so much for tying it.
My pleasure.
Before we move on and talk about some other stuff, is there anything else you really want to discuss about it in regards to the hook or kind of how it came to be from that tying perspective?
Yeah, so the idea actually wasn't mine to originate. Is one of my co-worker, Patrick Folkrod, one of my good friends down in Tennessee. He actually showed me. He started using the straight shank, and I took the barbless and I took the traditional silver zebra that everybody uses on the curve and the copper one, and kind of mixed them together and used a tag, a little tail, and it's been lights out. The hook is a little bit of a problem at first with the barbless, but now that more companies are coming involved, I used to use a Skulka. They were hard to get. Mainly the shank length was the hardest, but now between the Tiemco 113 BLH and the grab Gape should be all anybody needs.
Perfect. All right, cool. And if you need that stuff, contact Jake. He'll tell you all about all those different hooks. It's obvious you know a lot about them. Let's kind of shift gears a little bit. You talked about the fly being lights out. How do you like to fish this fly? What do you recommend for everybody?
So it's a pretty universal fly. I use it on a kind of a dry drop or a tight line rig on certain water types.
Okay.
And then you can also, fish it off a boat where you're doing a drop shot rig with weight at the bottom and you're fishing it on a tag, or a traditional nymph rig off any. It's very versatile and will work in pretty much any kind of water.
Okay, if I'm hearing you right, you would prefer to fish this, if you have a point fly, kind of maybe a little heavier one, you prefer this kind of as a dropper a little bit higher up?
Yeah, if I'm fishing high water on the Holston, I like to fish it as the first fly. But not always. I would say it's very, depending on what's going on in the water, it's very situational, and it works very different ways.
Okay, okay.
But it's a very good producer.
Okay, so it's one, put out there, see what happens.
Put
it's
out
probably
there,
gonna,
fish it, man.
It's probably going to work.
It's probably going to work.
All right, cool. And I know you talked a little bit about fishing it from a boat. Most people probably know that Jake's associated with his business, which is
South Holston River Company, and I own Competitive Angler.
You got it. So he has kind of a couple of different hats he wears. I knew him from Competitive Angler. I'm from Western Pennsylvania. So is Jake. So we kind of connected that way. But then he's telling me, oh, I love this. By the way, we are at his house right now in Pennsylvania. We have a rooster, so this is like great filming. I told him we have to get that on camera, and we did. Well, he told me that he guided on the Watauga and on the South Holston. I'd never been there. I didn't know how long of a drive it was, and he was like, it's not long at all. It wasn't. My wife Heather and I went down. We had a fantastic trip. We had a great time. It was early season, right before the sulfur started popping, and they lasted for like months down there. Jake was our guide. We had a blast with him. If you want to check out the South Holston and the Watauga, just get in contact with him. You'll have a blast. My wife Heather had never fished from a boat before.
Yeah, it was a great time.
She loved it, and we fished with this fly that you tied for us. This was one that I did really well with. It worked great. We were fishing, I think, as a dropper.
He was hesitant to fish it.
At first, I wasn't sure about it. So trust me, this is one I've used. I haven't tied it yet. I just get him to tie them for me. But it worked really well. So I appreciate that. So thanks for that trip. It was a blast. And if they want to contact you, best ways, how can they reach out to you?
You can reach out Jake at southholstonrivercompany.com, Jake at competitiveangler.com, or just 724-961-4234.
Cool. Is that cell phone?
Yep.
Can they text too?
Yep.
Look, you got like 18 different ways. It sounds like just do Jake at whatever.com. You're going to connect with him. Well, Jake, thanks again, man. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And thanks to all of you for watching this. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you have any questions or comments, you can contact Jake. You can leave a comment below, or you can email me at tcammisa@gmail.com. If you want to watch more like this, just check out the website, which is troutandfeather.com. You can also find Trout and Feather on Instagram and Facebook and all of that fun stuff. But most importantly, thank you so much for watching. And Jake, one more time, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you, and thanks for you.
Thanks, guys. We'll see all of you next time.